Welcome to Dice Junkies. This is Random Encounters, and I'm here with
Q.
And I'm Xenodamus, and this is where we discuss random topics taken from a list of 20. Join us each week as we tackle each randomly rolled topic for you. Be sure to hit subscribe so that you don't miss an episode, and check out our other videos. Thanks for watching. As always, we hope you enjoy.
It's now time for the random encounters.
All right.
Let's get some XP here.
Let's get those dice out. Let's get the list up so we can see what the current list is. You do.
Well, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you said things worth hearing.
Mm-hmm. So this is the list. Yeah, so if you want to add anything to this list, you have any suggestions, leave a comment. You can leave it on our Facebook page, our YouTube, or you can go to Dicejunkies.com and leave us a comment there. All right.
This is a stop.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so who's starting us off? We're going to get the dice cam up?
Dice cam's up, man.
Start us off.
What's your problem? All right.
Let you crack the seal on this.
Pin out of the way. Oh, I don't want to roll the white one. Give me the black one.
You've been eyeing. I guess we'll let you. You didn't hang out with us at offbeats. You get a pass.
All right. And that
Can't even
off.
keep it on camera.
I know. It's 10.
I'm going to downgrade you back to the white die.
Tabletop to video games. Apparently, it's hit one of our new topics. So
We like to keep it fresh.
Tabletop to video games. So here we're talking about some tabletops that have been converted over to video games. We can talk about anything from our tabletop RPGs to tabletop board games. I'm going to bring up some of the actually good ones.
You going to do some of the done rights? Go ahead.
Yeah. So to me, like, Baldur's Gates are still some of the best conversions of tabletop. They had really good class abilities. You actually had diversity between the classes. You know, it didn't feel like they took away abilities, really. There are some things you can't do in a game, but they also gave you the option to talk, discuss things, and basically piss people off and accidentally have to kill them. You know, it was a good conversion from tabletop to.
I agree. But I'm going to mention a different one, but in the same veins, because we don't want to exhaust all of our potential games here. But another one is Pool of Radiance. Despite it being really old, for those old schoolers that played Pool of Radiance, Curse of the Azure Bonds, that series, for the same reason. But what I loved about them was them actually sticking impressively close to the tabletop rules. Like, I mean, you could build your character almost exactly the way they worked in AD&D tabletop. I mean, I've never seen a more, I could take this character sheet, I could build this character, it will do what it's supposed to do, and I lose almost nothing in the translation. And while, I mean, some people may not have liked that, for me, what I was looking for, that's what I wanted. I wanted D&D, AD&D on the screen. Pool of Radiance and Baldur's Gate, they stuck tight to it, man. They really did. And we've seen so many games where it's like, There's two categories that need to do this right. You either need to catch the feel or you need to catch the rules.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I'll throw out one randomly just because it's just an old school one. I don't know if you remember this, but our Super Nintendo people may remember the Shadowrun video game, the original Shadowrun Super Nintendo.
Oh.
Did not get the rules at all right,
No.
but it got the feel. It felt like the Shadowrun world. And that's the thing about the new games that fails to me. Some of them are better on the rules, but I just don't feel like a runner. You know,
They still didn't catch the rule system of Shadowrun, though. I mean, they did better. They caught it more of a tabletop style rule system, but not Shadowrun system.
Yeah, you're right. Even the new ones that I like, the Shadowrun Hong Kong and Shadowrun Returns, Shadowrun Dragonfall, great games. They're about the best you're gonna get these days. But were the rules perfect? No. And while the setting was a bit closer, there was just something about that old Super Nintendo game that reminded that the music, maybe it's just a combination of the music and everything too. It felt like you were in Shadowrun. These new games they did good at both, but they didn't do great at either, which unfortunately meant it was good, but it wasn't great. Pool of Radiance, perfection on the rules. Baldur's Gate, perfection on the rules, and a good D&D story. Like you said, the ability to screw up was there. Like, you could end up killing somebody that was supposed to be a companion because you said, like, man, you know what? Screw you. And they're like, I'm going to stab you. And they didn't stop you. You could cut a bloody swat. You could be evil. Yeah. You could totally, like, not be trying to save the world.
Well, the thing is, I mean, you didn't have to have companions either. You could try to solo it. It wasn't going to go good for you, but you could try.
If you can get high enough level as a monk. Just because those resistances start kicking in. And but you're right. But no, so those are just some examples. I mean, next time around, we definitely got some more. I can't wait to roll that again because that's not even the tip of the iceberg. We'll get into some current.
Well, why don't you roll for us then and see what we get. I also like the black die because it shows up better on camera. So
we've got 16.
So 16 is DM stories.
Oh, yeah. This is just where we tell a little short story about some of the events we've had as DMs. There's almost nobody that hasn't had an interesting tale. I'll tell one of my favorites that we were talking about the other night. As a DM, I'm not a purposeful player killer. I actually try to avoid it as much as possible, but at the same time, I do not avoid consequences. AKA, you will die if you choose to put yourself in that position. I'm not going to stop that. I just try not to force you into it using my GM power to bully. We had a guy that had an assassin coming after him because he decided to mouth off to a Karnath noble. Now, for our Ebron fans out there, you know how dumb an idea that is. You had a nation ran by a vampire and filled with necromancers. Their nobles aren't nice people. And guy sent an assassin after him. So he goes back to his room, and all the players even told him, hey, man, you know that guy doesn't like you. We've heard somebody's in town looking for you. Be careful. Goes to his room and decides to check his room. You know what he does? He looks out the window. He locks the window. He looks under his bed. And then he literally lays down and goes to sleep. And I, as a DM, felt so bad for him. I looked at him and I said, do you check your closet? And his answer was actually no. So I stabbed the hell out of him while he was asleep and killed him. Well, actually, I downed him, and then the guy pinned him to the wall, peeled his skin off, and wrote on the wall, the name of the noble's name is paid to write that I did this. The noble had him put his name on there, and he did that. And when the guys found him in the morning, you know, he was all mad his character died. And I said, dude, you threw your character on the knife, man. And to this day, I just was always amused. We always laugh about that because the fact I looked at him and said, do you check your closet? And I don't know if it was weed or what, but it was just like, no, I don't. And everybody in the room was just glaring at him like, are you kidding me?
Now, Bloodaxe in the chat room actually says he holds the record for players killed.
I don't know if he does as a DM, but as another player, he has killed a lot of other players, yeah. My record's a little higher in my previous group, but in the group when we were running with Bloodaxe, the number of other people that thought he wouldn't stab them, even as he was stabbing them, was surprisingly high. You know, so that was always funny. But that's just a good tale of, like, when you can't save somebody from themselves.
Do you really think, you know, we have another mutual friend that is known for killing quite a few party members. Do you think he exceeds that? I mean,
yeah, but he kills the same guy. You know, like Bloodaxe varied it up. Like,
okay,
our friend who's beat the crap out of Remy so many times. Like, if you kill the same guy, does that really count? It's like, you know, they've went at it a couple of times, and one guy wins almost all of those fights.
Well, from the stories I've heard, he's taken out entire parties sometimes. And turned the entire campaign on its head.
But no, that was through rolling a 1, though.
Okay.
Yeah, he would roll like a 1 on a summon check in Anima and call upon the apocalypse. That's not a player kill. Yeah. That's just a god-awful fumble.
Yeah. Bloodaxe is now using the excuse that the DM made him do it.
Or the DM puts you in a yeah, sure. Yeah, the DM puts you in a position by allowing you to be in a room with another person with your weapon.
Oh.
Our boy Blood Axe has a simple rule. What did you just say to me? The next thing you say determines if he's rolling initiative. He's picked up his D20 while he's saying it. So that kind of means that there was intent. It's like, what did you say to me? And then I'll go like, I said, roll initiative. And I'm like, yeah, you were really trying.
Oh, all right. Let's get Google to roll for us, see what she comes up with. Hey, Google, roll me a D20.
I'm going to say, she don't listen to me.
Rolling a die with 20 faces. The result is 9.
All right, and Google rolled a 9. So let's see what 9 is. 9 is veteran player versus veteran character. Man, we are tabletop tonight. Yeah.
Go for it then. This is one especially I know is close to your heart.
I think the name of this random encounters is going to be the DM made me do it. All right, so veteran players versus veteran characters. Oh yeah, this was a topic. Okay, so we've had a couple of issues I've seen in several of the games where we have some veteran players. So these are players that have been playing for a really long time, been dedicated in DMing or playing a character, you know. So you have that wide variety. They know the system, they know the creatures, they know how things react and how a character should best react to get through a situation. My problem with this is usually when you roll a new character, your new character does not have this information. He is not well versed in the ways of, you know, how goblins act or how, you know, kobolds tend to have their dens or, you know, whatever. So at what point do you draw the line for a veteran character and a veteran player to have his character know what he knows or not? So, I mean, that's one thing that's challenging, I think, as a DM, is having to go through and look at that character and going, would your character know this? And I find myself having to ask that question a lot of times, DMing, especially with veteran players. And a lot of times having to ask them 4 or 5 times before they realize and really think about it and go, well, crap. You know, most of them, I don't think it's intentional. I don't think it's intentional. But it's getting that through that veteran character's head of, look at this through new eyes. You know, it's difficult. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. I find myself doing it in games occasionally on accident as well. But I mean, and I think that's where a good DM comes in, is one that recognizes, you know, how you've been playing your character, what your character's experiences are, to go, would your character know that?
100%, and especially when we started gaming with Wells, we had a big issue with this because Wells starts his campaigns at first level, and one solution that we had came up with is we didn't start games at first level anymore. After a certain point, it was just too hard for the players to try to play green, adventurers. So we would start at 3rd or 5th level.
Well, too hard is a dumb excuse.
Well, put it like this. When you're aware that your group is going to have that problem, this goes back to being a veteran GM now. Because you say it's too hard an excuse, but if I'm a GM and I know there's going to be a problem and we've tried it and it keeps being an issue, I could either keep demanding that they do what I want, or I can adjust the campaign so that everybody has fun. So, no, it's up to you as a GM to make that call. And the original call we made was, we're going to start with characters that have been doing adventuring for a while. At least at 3rd level, you've done enough that you're not a completely green, and you know that, like, don't throw fireball at a flammable, watch out for the red barrels. Of course, I'm making a joke. I guess. You at least get those basics. And when you're 1st level, you're green, and it is hard to do. And I'm not making excuses in that veteran players, more than anybody, should be able to do it because they've been playing the longest. But at the same time, it is a challenge to do as well. You got to acknowledge that. It's not easy. You even said you've done it. It's real easy to forget that you don't need to throw fireballs at red dragons. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for you to go, why would I think that? Even though it's almost, if you really think about it, because the problem is knowing it, it's hard for you to not think that it's kind of obvious.
Yeah.
And that's why I tend to always run my games a little higher. Now, I've got a solution for players out there. We're not just going to talk about the issue. One of the reasons I don't play frontliners as much is because of their poor skills, which is something why we like games like Attn and Bessem, where that's not a problem. You can be as intelligent as you want to be with any character because they're more customizable. I usually play spellcasters because then I can get the knowledge skills to cover it. It helps a lot if you can look at the DM and go, I've got knowledge nature, knowledge religion, knowledge planar. So the DM can go, oh, okay, so you've actually studied a broad range of subjects.
Yeah, it's one of the issues I actually found with 5th Ed is because 5th Ed limits all the characters on their skills, especially knowledge skills. And I am used to playing characters with a lot of knowledge skills because of this problem. Is definitely one of the reasons why I choose characters that get a decent, either rogue or intelligent based characters that can bump their skills up and have a large variety, because it gives me a fallback for this problem. And yeah, I've noticed that's one of the problems with 5th Ed is 5th Ed limits every class on skills. I mean, the rogue, I think, gets a couple extra skills, but still, he can't afford to use them in knowledge skills. So.
Yeah, you can't play a well-educated character easily, and that does create a little bit of a challenge when you want to play a character who's more familiar. That's like I said. For example, I played Pathfinder, same problem. I made a monk, and the first issue I ran into was, dang, I don't know crap. I just didn't have the points to do anything with knowledges. And when I later on made a summoner, I was so much happier because even though summoners aren't intelligence builds, they still have access to enough intelligence skills for me to drop a rank in and be knowledgeable, generally knowledgeable. And this goes back to, I know we're getting off subject, but we do that. Where we talked about we like systems that customize it, where you can kind of go like, I'm gonna make a fighter, but I'm gonna take this trait that says he's well educated too, so I can wield a sword, but also have a basic degree of knowledge and education. Yeah. And class systems don't offer that as much as point build systems do. And that is a flaw because why can't you be a knowledgeable? To me, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to be like, yeah, I'm a fighter. That's why I know this. I'm the one on the front line. I need to know I don't need to stab a gelatinous ooze because it's immune to slashing. I don't know if that's the case now, but just an example. I need to know these things to live because remember we rolled that? If we're in a fantasy setting, first thing I want to know is everything there is to know about every monster. That would be the first. Before I learn swordsmanship, I want to know what even works. And then I'm going to go train in the skills that'll work the most often.
Yeah.
So, sorry we got a little off there, but I had to go into it, is that it's a system thing too right there. But veteran players versus veteran characters, veteran players should have the knowledge, I'll concede that, to be able to be that diverse. On the flip side, if you can't, then talk to your DM and try to find a middle ground. That's a good way to do it. Roll with something. There's some optional rules out there for fixing that. There's one class idea I saw where you take half your class level, and that becomes a generic skill you can roll for anything that should be known by your class. This is the actual optional rule I saw for like a couple of the 3rd edition versions of games, and even the 5th Ed once talked about it, where it's like, yeah, I'm a barbarian. Stuff related to animals and stuff, I should be able to roll a little bit of a skill bonus.
Well, I think a good DM also will look at your class and look at your background and go, okay, this is something that you would know, and I think that would help with skills as well.
Because why would not the veteran mercenary, when y'all were training on the yard, go, one time I fought a werewolf and I didn't have a silver weapon. You know what that just did? That just lets you know you need a silver weapon. You telling me you never heard this story from the old one-eyed weapons trainer? There's a little bit of knowledge. You may not know anything else, like it's a curse and not a disease when you get bit by a werewolf, but you might know as a fighter you need a silver flipping weapon, because I don't know why anybody wouldn't tell everybody that. Like every older fighter should.
No, I agree. And that's why, like I said, I think, it all boils down to the level of the DM as well. And actually having that communication with your DM so that you can take care of that. We still got some time, so let's get one more roll in. We'll make our editor reach over and grab the die and roll it.
Bet you wish you painted your nails today.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, so we had she rolled us a 7. So let's see. Hey, editor, roll me a d20.
Screw you.
Gaming systems that should be updated.
Are you looking at 8?
7.
Oh, sorry.
7.
From my angle, I'm seeing an 8, man.
Okay.
I was looking at the one that they see. I was going like 8.
Oh, you're talking about over.
Yeah, weirdly enough, it looked like the 8 was the one on top for me.
Okay. But yeah, no, 7 is what she rolled. Gaming systems that should be updated. So yet another tabletop topic. We have just exhausted. This is gonna kill us. People that are watching, please leave in the comics some tabletop oriented questions for us to add, because we just exhausted most of them that were on our list.
You see, my boy Bloodaxe agreed with me. He was like, "Yeah, it's hard doing level 1 when you're playing a while."
Yes, I have never played Paranoia. I've heard so many awesome stories. I would love to see this get revamped so that I could get my hands on it.
It's fun, man. I played it. It's fun.
But yeah, we've had some huge stories come from Paranoia that I've heard. So yeah, that's a good one.
What you got? You know, I got like 4 or 5, man. I wanted to give you a chance so I don't steal one of yours.
I would actually, out of nostalgia, and I've mentioned this before, I grew up, one of the first games I ever played was Toon. And I would love to see that sort of remade. It played heavy on the cartoon tropes and stuff. And it was just a fun, simple game that you could play with all ages as well. So it'd be something that would be fun to see come out to sort of bring in some of your younger generation into a tabletoping system. It's sort of fun, lighthearted, and
very imaginative.
Yeah, can just take from the stuff that you watched, on your Saturday morning cartoons.
Now, what's killer about this subject is this is not coming off because I've got so many answers to this, but I'm going to go to one that I'm worried we've mentioned before. Have we ever rolled this before?
Not this particular topic. This is just new.
Well, then when it comes to updates, I'm going to go back to Palladium, the entire Palladium multiverse. And my reason being is because it has the best settings, the absolute best settings. I love all the settings for it, but the rules are just outdated.
Palladium is a nice one. I love the class breakdowns, or the difference where you can get the ambulance driver,
and it plays differently from the doctor and the race car driver and the truck. I've never seen a game where people are excited. Like, we had a guy go, "I'm a truck driver," and he was loving it, man. He was loving it. That was our boy Remy. He was loving that. And then our friend Kitsune was a female ambulance driver, but like he loved the skill set. I played a detective. It's you've played a detective. We've both done it. We've had undercover operatives, but that's the thing. Even the settings, Dead Rain. The zombie setting was awesome. We've tried Night Bane. We played Night Bane and loved it. We're not even going to the big ones. Y'all are probably thinking about Rifts. Rifts is an amazing sci-fi magic setting, but they've actually been brought up. But for some reason, it's not that they can't. These are live systems still selling books. The guy that created it is just like friggin' eccentric. He won't let it get updated. He's told everybody no.
Yeah, I'm with Bloodaxe on Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk was another one of my early. Well, they're doing a video game, Cyberpunk 2070, but they still haven't. To my knowledge, they have not updated a book since Cyberpunk 2020. So
I got to say Palladium over Cyberpunk. While I like Cyberpunk, if that's my second pick, I would love to see it. The Palladium version, because here's why. Since they all use the same rules, it only needs to be one update. It would update everything if they did one rules update.
Well, Cyberpunk's also my setting. I love that setting. So
I'm a Shadowrun dog, but I haven't liked the. Oh well, we're not going to attack them. But the last few updates have been meh.
You talking about Shadowrun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss FAFSA. faster, like the original owners of it. I liked it back when Earth Dawn and Shadowrun were ran by the same company. But I'm an old dog.
Oh yeah, well we'll hold off on talking about those though. We got Palladium, we got Tune, we talked about those, and Paranoia. And we'll stop there, and we'll leave this one on the list, and we'll talk about some more games we'd love to see updated in a future episode.
I'm gonna do it. I'm converting Palladium. I'm stealing all of his stuff. Yeah, you made my mind up. I'm like, I'm converting all the Palladium right here, taking it all. And it's going to be free, so you can't do nothing about it.
All right, guys. Well, hey, look, thanks for watching or listening or whichever you're doing. We do this show live every Sunday at 3:30. If you're local to the Jackson area and you'd like to hop on the show with us, send us a message, and we'd possibly can get you on the show. We're looking for some new voices to vary things up. We were supposed to have a guest on today that ended up canceling on us, so we are definitely looking for guests to vary it up. Or if you're just passing through Jackson, Mississippi, let us know. Maybe we can get you on. It'll be fun. We like to discuss and talk with people and tell them how they're wrong, or
wrong.
As Q would say, he likes to tell everybody how they're wrong. I like to have a discussion to see if we can change each other's minds personally. But hey.
That's because you value other people's opinions.
Be sure to check us out on Dicejunkies.com. You can check us out on YouTube and Facebook. Be sure to subscribe to YouTube and like Facebook. Once again, thanks for joining us. Have a great day.